Hey guys, Justin with S&S Archery. I'm here at Allterra Arms with General Manager Todd Harney. This is part 2 of our video series. Today we are talking rings. So Todd, what should a person be looking for in a ring for their rifle scope?
So rings are probably one of the more overlooked components for your rifle that absolutely have an impact on your performance, accuracy, durability, all those important things. Essentially, you have this rifle, it's all one piece. You have the scope, it's the second just as important piece to the system. And then you're relying on some small, ideally, item to attach the two together and stay put and take a beating and make sure that as your hunting season, years go by, stuff does not move. So very critical part. Essentially, there's two main or basic options. A small set of, say, Talley rings, very popular. They make these for every rifle under the sun, basically, as far as radius of receiver, hole spacing, heights, scope tube sizes, all that stuff. We make our own Allterra version of basically the same thing, or a pick rail style scope mount. So here we've got an Allterra pick rail with a pair of Nightforce rings on there. Most pick rails have 20 minutes of angle of slant built into them. So if you're a long range shooter where you want to start out with your initial 100 yard, 200 yard, zero, whatever, with maximizing the amount of travel left in your scope, you can accomplish that by going with a 20 MOA pick rail. So then, where your scope would bottom out at distance on a 0 MOA setup is an extra 20 minutes or MRAD, whatever you use further. Now, this is a very rigid setup, the pick rail. It's all one piece, so it's really good for ensuring that the two rings are in perfect alignment with each other. It's also heavier. Let's throw it on the scale. Five ounces for a short action versus a lightweight pair of rings, 2.5 ounces. So you're looking at double the weight and at least double the size of individual one-piece rings like Allterra rings or Talleys. The other thing that happens is with this big piece on there, when you open up your bolt, maybe you're loading shells, it's definitely bulkier, can get in the way of your thumb loading. So those are essentially the two main options. There are other things out there, but for most people, stick with one of these two.
Gotcha. So one thing I've heard you speak of in the past is lapping. Mm-hmm. What exactly does that mean? Okay,
so how I mentioned on the pick rail with the two rings mounted to the same plane or perfectly straight piece, that ensures that these rings, theoretically at least, or within a reasonable tolerance, are in perfect alignment with each other. Now, if you take two separate pieces and you put them on the rifle, it's definitely prone to any tolerance in straightness on the plane of the mounting holes. If they're off at all, then your scope tube is not going to be perfectly straight in there, and therefore you're going to give up surface contact. So Talleys, when we use them, we lap them 100% of the time, and you can see where we have exposed the aluminum underneath the anodized surface. Now, if you look at it, Justin, and you can confirm for the folks, you see it's not perfectly straight, right?
Right.
So those angles that have shown up in the raw aluminum beneath the surface are essentially telling us that there was some kind of out of straightness that we have lapped and essentially straightened the mounting surface with these.
Gotcha.
Now with our rings, we don't do that. We know that the machining quality of the rings themselves, the machining precision of our actions, all that stuff, we just don't need to do it. Also, and it may not even be the rings, there's a variance in the anodize surface itself.
Coating.
So that's what you're fixing also.
Gotcha. So we're going to be putting the Allterra rings on my Allterra rifle, so obviously those two are going to go great together. I had those on last year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So really excited to try out these. Next part of our video is going to be actually mounting the NX8 up to my 6.5 PRC. Like I stated in the other video, if you guys have any questions about what we've talked about so far, I'll leave links in the comments below on how to get a hold of Allterra Arms, and then always you guys can reach out to S&S Archery if you have any more questions. So we'll see you guys on part 3 of our video.
The fun one.
Yeah.